time for the news wrap, where we let you know what's happening across the world and locally. Right, first on our list, we got the Department of Transportation remains unable to produce driver's license card following the breakdown of the country's printing machine. Now, they had this printing machine a year ago. Didn't they receive 2 machines, or didn't they repair?
I thought the number would be like so
that.
much higher for something like that.
But I think the country's technology systems are just low, to say the least. Even to get a SIM swap, even getting a SIM swap is a mission, because now there's a coordination with Home Affairs and whatnot. So you can't just go to you can't go to Telkom or Vodacom store and ask for a SIM swap, because they have to correlate the fingerprints with Home Affairs.
What?
So yeah, it's literally long. I've literally been waiting for 2 weeks.
Wasn't the Home Affairs system down last week?
Yeah, so that's also affecting. It's affecting mobile. What do you call them? Service providers.
That's why when the guys rob you, they give you back your SIM card. They'll take your phone, but they'll give you a SIM card. They'll be like,
they're doing that now?
Yeah, they're doing that to be like, shame, we know the hassle.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Sometimes they'll give you your driver's license, or they'll give you your ID back, and they'll be like, we know, shame the lines. But they'll walk away with your phone.
But I think we should become a lot more what's the receptive to thievery, to okay. Driver's license, wallet, everything, driver's license, bank card in this wallet.
So you mean when they approach you?
Yeah, when I approach you, I go, Chief, check this one. Everything you need is here.
What's wrong when they say let your phone?
So you don't waste time. The more time you waste, the more in danger your life becomes. The quicker you are with the exchange, the better it is for you. Now you must take a pin out for your iPhone. You must use the pin to get the SIM card out. You're wasting time. The cops are coming. These guys are on.
So you mean you must keep the pin with you at all times?
All times.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case.
On your house keys. Have it there.
Yeah, on your house keys.
Ready.
No, it's interesting. Very much interesting.
Nonetheless, continuing with our local news, the Department of Transport remains unable to produce. Okay, you already just mentioned that. Finance Minister Enoch Ndogwana, of course, met the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent during the G20 talks in Washington, where, of course, countries were broadly rejected protectionist trade policies.
So, rising. That's all I can say. So the Democratic Alliance has welcomed the Western Cape High Court's decision to suspend the VAT increase, calling it a victory for South Africans.
Yeah, that's what I feel like as well, because there's people...
Does it feel like a victory, though?
At 100
you feel like it's a victory
per month.
I don't want to pay more. That's a victory.
No, I mean, if you just go outside, if you just turn the TV on and you just look at what's going on in South Africa, do you feel like we've actually won? I feel like it's caused more of a war between South Africans over and above obviously the consumer markets are celebrating the victory, but then
I wouldn't know.
Governments, parliaments, when things are not good in government, you can feel it as a citizen. When you walk out, something's wrong here.
Yeah, we don't know, man.
And all that animosity between the GNU. Now you're thinking, but you guys are meant to unite the country, but you are so divided in between yourselves. And us here as citizens, left you just carrying on normally.
That's the thing, man. With this GNU, we don't know where we're going exactly. So I feel like it's a victory because we all came to a decision to say no.
Sure.
Although there's a little bit of some people that say, we need this, but we don't need it. But it's tricky.
I always feel a country that can't make a joint decision. It's not a.
Yeah, but there's always going to be the opposing parties, man, and stuff like that. Speaking about parties, the Democratic Alliance has welcomed the Western Cape High. Oh, yes, we're going to skip on to that. And in Johannesburg, a fire at Rivoli High School destroyed 11 classrooms.
Yeah, some of the matricular learners went back to the school today. Of course, our schools are still on holiday, but they went back. You can see the disappointment and the hurt in these learners' faces. Going back to school and
Where's
sitting at your
Rivoli?
school. Rivoli is in the south, or some parts in Lenasia, if I'm not mistaken. 11 classrooms were burnt out. Some of the kids are going to go back to classrooms that have caught fire. Of course, there was a case of arson that was reported in this regard, arson and vandalism. But yeah, also, how bold are you to go set the school on fire? What did that teacher do to you, man?
So it was a school child.
Yeah, that's who else would it be? If you're a vandal, surely you have more important things to go vandalize other than the school. A whole structure that's standing there representing education. And when now you decide today I'm going to be a rebel and go burn this place, like
11 classrooms. That's a lot.
How much of an enemy of progress must you be?
11 classrooms. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's not just one.
And the repercussions in this, of course, are some of the learners that now have to be moved to a neighboring school to be able to do the classes, and some kids actually can't go to school anymore because of this infrastructure has to be replaced in our government. And I think there was a mayor that was being interviewed, and he now said we have to replace it with plastic pallets or those standalone classrooms, and that has to be done in the course of a week or so. That's literally finding classrooms for at least 150 learners to fit in over the course of a week.
In other news, EFF leader Julius Malema has called for Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana and Director General Duncan Peters to resign over the VAT debacle.
My question is, how many people are in the EFF? Because they deploy these people at the same time, and don't they get tired as well? Like, how many? Because, man.
But the funny thing is, there could be 10 people in the EFF, but the seats in Parliament still remains the seats in Parliament. So it could be 5 people in the EFF, but you still have your seats. So Julius Malema is using that to his advantage and saying, listen, as small as we are as a party in numbers, we could still definitely have a voice in Parliament.
No, they definitely do, man. Because now they're deploying toys, six locations at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, how many are you guys? Like, come on, guys.
It is a lot.
No, but you gotta give it to them. They're very organized, because
the Vietnam soldiers.
You guys are going there today, you guys are going there today. I'm sure there's a general, and then there's a commander, and then there's
those Rambo movies, Vietnam soldiers that never finish. They keep coming out the woodworks.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like the Vietnam soldiers.
Just to wrap up your news as well, I'll give you a quick insight as far as our sporting headlines are concerned. Of course, sprinter Kani Simbine won the first Diamond League's men's 100-meter race of the season in a time of 9.99 seconds at the Egret Stadium in Zhejiang, China. This, of course, took place on Saturday. 9.99. That is just a split second slower than the fastest man in the world, Usain Bolt, who gave us a time of 9.98 seconds.
Yeah.
So Kani Simbine is definitely amongst the fastest men in the world, if not the fastest. Funny story, I ran against Akani Simbine in high school, and you know what I did? I left him in the dust. But here I am in the microphone.
Of course you did.
Here I am talking English on the microphone. Homeboys out there
talking about him.
Yeah. Homeboys breaking records. I am talking English on microphones.
Wow.
But nonetheless, to give you further insight as far as our sporting headlines are concerned, crunch time as far as the UEFA Champions League goes, in the first leg semi-final that takes place this evening. Of course, Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain lock-ons in that regard, and of course, as far as the Springboks are concerned, not a good outing, not good news for the Springboks, as they will now be excluded from the Six Nations of the huge request to be involved in that regard. And of course, our Formula One also back in action this weekend.